Good afternoon, I'm Daniel Faulkner, and you're watching Global Markets Live. U.S. markets are holding steady today, but under the surface, the tone is shifting. Traders are watching a few key signals that might be flashing early warnings. Now, you won't see this on most headlines, but credit markets are moving. Investment-grade spreads are creeping wider, not dramatic, but steady. That means lenders are asking for more return to take on corporate risk. It's subtle, but it often comes before volatility spikes. And speaking of volatility, the VIX has ticked up 3 sessions in a row, even while stocks are flat. That's not a panic signal, but it's not nothing. Meanwhile, households are borrowing more, a lot more. Credit card balances just hit a record, and with interest rates no longer near zero, that debt is getting expensive. For families already stretched thin, that could mean trouble ahead. Economists say consumer strength is what's held this expansion together. If that pillar cracks, we could be looking at a very different landscape. Here's the confusing part. The Fed says everything's fine, a soft landing is still possible. But some internal notes from big firms say otherwise. We've seen memos advising teams to rotate into cash, reduce complex holdings. That kind of repositioning doesn't scream confidence. It says something's brewing. And then there's the yield curve. Right now, the gap between short-term and long-term. Treasury yields is barely there. That's what economists call a flattened curve. And historically, it's come just before most major recessions. It doesn't mean disaster is guaranteed, but it means the future is not looking very certain. More institutions are seeing their credit default swap prices rise. That's Wall Street's internal way of betting on whether a firm might default. No one's sounding alarms, but investors are clearly paying to hedge. One trader described it to us as buying flood insurance on a sunny day. There's also been a noticeable pullback from emerging markets. Capital is flowing back to the U.S., not because of strength here, but because of weakness elsewhere. Multiple funds are quietly trimming exposure to high-yield international debt. These are often the first dominoes to fall before contagion reaches core markets. Behind the scenes, interbank lending is showing signs of stress. Repo facility volumes are climbing, meaning banks are relying more on overnight borrowing to stay liquid. It's not panic yet, but it does suggest that trust between institutions isn't as solid as it looks. Still, most headlines today will show Dow up 100 points or S&P gains slightly. But remember, headlines tell the story of price, not always the story of risk.